Hey, what's up? How are you? I am Charles, and this is International Bridging the Gap Teaching Ministry. And I am so excited to be a part of the 30 Days of Encouragement that is sponsored by the sisters. So Pastor Patricia, Minister Sharon, and Minister Bridget, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to participate in this great work that you're doing for the kingdom of God. And Happy New Year's to you. If you're listening to this or if you're watching this, I want to say Happy New Year's to you. And my prayer is that you receive the fullness of everything that God has for you as you go throughout this year. Now, we know that during this time of the year, people around the world create New Year resolutions because they are trying to reach for something better. They're trying to reach for better experience in life than what they had just the year before. And many people are reaching for better health, maybe better physical health, better mental health. Some people are reaching for better financial status. Some are reaching for better relationships. Others are reaching for better jobs, just anything that will improve upon their lives. And as we all know, many people will experience some success as it relates to New Year's resolutions. But then many others, even after reaching, will end up empty-handed and perhaps even discouraged. But I want to encourage you today that maybe changing what you're reaching for could make all the difference in the world. And interesting enough, there's a lady in the Bible who actually found herself reaching year after year after year, and she ended up empty-handed every single year until she heard about Jesus. And something different happened in her life when she decided to reach for Jesus. The Bible tells us in the book of Mark in chapter 5 that there is a lady, doesn't tell us her name, but they tell us that she suffered with an issue of blood for 12 long years. And according to the Leviticus law, because she suffered with an issue of blood, she had to be separated from the people back in that time. So she couldn't socialize with her family. She couldn't socialize with her friends. If it was put forward into today's terms, she wouldn't be able to make weekly trips to the mall with her friends. She wouldn't be able to participate in pool parties or birthday parties or celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas with her family. She probably wouldn't have any friends on Facebook, wouldn't have any tweets to talk about, wouldn't have anyone on Instagram. There would be no social status for this particular lady because she dealt with an issue of blood. I want to read you something that I wrote a couple of years ago about this particular lady. As she sat there motionless in her house until the day she heard about Jesus. Somebody told her about Jesus, and she decided that she would actually do something with that information. So let me read this to you real quick. As she sat there motionless in the black silence of her home, she reflected on the pain of the past 12 years and thought nervously about her plans for the day in hopes that he would change her life. She was considering doing the inconceivable. She was considering touching, reaching for Jesus. Trying to put her body into motion, her thoughts kept her immobile. Could reaching for him really change my life? What would they think of me if I touched him? What will they do to me? And for 12 long years, she suffered with an issue of blood. And because of her sickness, she was misunderstood. Her friends alienated her. Her family rejected her. She was even forced to go public with her issues so everybody knew. Some people in the town jeered her while others pointed and whispered as she passed. She was cold. She was feeble. She was fragile. She was weak. And one day she got word that Jesus was coming her way, and she strategized a plan that she hoped would change her life forever. Completely concealed with clothing to mask her identity, she pressed her way through the crowd, and she found herself standing behind Jesus within arm's reach before she even realized it. And the instant that she saw Jesus, everything around her froze in time. She had become deaf to all sounds around her. And with slow, deep breaths and cold, frail fingers, she pulls back the cloth from around her hand. She slowly lifts her arms, as if slow motion was as fast as she could go. She, in all of her weakness, she reached forward and she does the unthinkable. She touches Jesus. She had been reaching for the lesser all of her life. And finally, she reached for the greater. And she grabs hold of his garment. And it was at this moment in time, the hurt and the healer collided. With one earnest and desperate touch, her pain was all over. With one earnest and desperate touch, she was totally healed. No more pain, no more rejection, no more jeering, no longer concerned about the thoughts of others. She was finally made whole. One touch in exchange for one reach. 12 years of disappointment in exchange for one reach. Instead of reaching for the lesser, she reached for the greater. Instead of focusing in on things that she thought that she could control, she decided to focus in on Jesus and allow him to heal her and to make her whole. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6:33 that we should seek first the kingdom of God. We should seek first God's way of doing things, and then everything that God has for our lives will follow. God's full package for our lives follow when we reach for the greater over reaching for the lesser. And I just want to encourage you today that as you think on your plans for your life for this year and for years to come, that you think about reaching for the greater. Allow God to guide the steps of your life. Give God full control over all of your plans, over all of your ideas, over everything that you think that you could put together. Submit those things to God. I think it's very important that we strategize and that we plan and that we have resolutions and that we have vision boards and that we consider how we want our lives to be better. But with all of our plans, all of our ideas, we should always submit those to the will of God for our lives. So thank you for listening to this. My prayer is that you go forth reaching for the greater. This is Charles with International Bridging the Gap Teaching Ministry.